about emotional health and men. And I'm just your facilitator. I'm just a host. We want to hear what you have to say. What do you think about men and relating that to emotional health? Talking about stereotypes. Sorry, I'm talking about the way men express themselves. I think the most important thing is even to define what is, when you talk about wholeness, wholeness is about being healthy in every way. So that's physically and mentally as well. Mentally, emotionally. But most times people say, oh, I'm healthy because they're thinking about their bodies alone. But what about the emotions? What about your mental state? Most men do not pay as much attention. Well, most human beings really do not pay as much attention to it, especially people that live on this side, of the dial, like I am. We're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria. And so that's why we really, really, really need to talk about this and get the men folk, involved, get them moving on it as well, and get them to express themselves. If you are on our IG page, you would have seen that we had a few videos from different guys just talking about the kind of stereotypes that they grew up with and what they now know. What they now know. I was wondering maybe we could play those videos. We have those videos available to play, just in case some people have not seen it, and we just say, let's see this together. Do we have the videos to play? Crew? Do we have the videos?
Like 5 minutes.
Give us 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So in 5 minutes, you're going to watch 4 videos. And these guys are just talking about the kind of stereotypes that they grew up with. And what is a stereotype? A stereotype is something that it's a way that people are, or a person, or a nation, or a tribe, or whatever it is projected to be. So you hear things like, oh, Nigerians are very confident people. Yes, we are. It's a good stereotype. So there are good stereotypes and there are bad stereotypes. We're very confident people, or Nigerians are go-getters. Then we have the negative, ones as well. And I don't want to mention those ones right now because we're chasing those ones away. So a stereotype is something that many of us have grown up with, we've learned, so much so that you even believe it. Whether you've experienced it or not, you believe that is how it is, and that is how it's supposed to be, and all that. So when we talk about men and emotional health, people start wondering, what does that mean? Emotional health of a man. Do men even have emotions? Somebody actually said that yesterday. Said, do men have emotions? Of course they have emotions. Emotions are the ways you express yourself. Somebody laughs, that's an emotion. Laughter is an emotion. Crying is an emotion. Smiling, as long as you're expressing something you're feeling, your brain is connecting, and your body, your hand, something is making it act in that way. Guess what? That is emotion. You get angry, that's emotion. You're hungry, it's an emotion. So please, let's first, remove that fact that stereotype that men don't have emotional health. Everybody has emotional health to think about, definitely. And it's going to be an amazing thing. Even though we're running behind, I know it's going to be such a beautiful, beautiful time. Once you have the video ready, let me know. I'll stop and then you can play. Because let me call my WhatsApp. One of the comments I got from sending the videos out was, I love this. These young men are breaking the stereotype. And I'm like, this auntie is really tired of what she has learned all this while. People keep saying, somebody said I need the link. What's going on? Oh my goodness. Why are they saying I need the link? I'm wondering, where's the link?
Yes, the link only goes to the Instagram. So to log on to the Zoom, you have to go through the number. There wasn't a direct link, so it was a little...
Oh my goodness. Can we have the Zoom link? I think that's the mistake. That's what's going on. Can we have the Zoom link, please? Oh, I was wondering, because I keep hearing, I need the link, and I was wondering. Oh, what happened? I can't remember. I don't know what happened, but I'm sending this out right now so everybody can get it. It's on my status. Please tell people, it's on my status, and I'm going to send it to the groups as well. I apologize about that. We did not realize. I was so certain that we had the link out there. So I kept wondering, why are they asking for the link? All right. So please bear with me as I do this so others can join us. Okay. So others can join us. Sorry about this. Sorry about this. Sorry about this. Yes. So we can get more people on. Please, can I have the link? Somebody's asking me for the link and she's here. Be playing. All right. So please, let's give people 1 minute.
So I want to send it to some people. They're asking me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's do it out now. Okay. Oh my goodness. I can't even believe this. What happened to us? What happened to us? Please bear with me. Okay, we're sending this out one more time. We apologize. We apologize. We apologize for this. I don't know what happened, but we apologize. And I'm sending out as quickly as I can to all the groups. Oh my goodness. What happened? I think it was just the IG page we had. I didn't realize that. My fingers are moving so quickly, so we can get this rolling. I think that's the last one. I need to send now. Oh, even my husband just asked for the link. What did I do? I apologize, everybody. I apologize. I apologize. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we must have gotten that mixed up with the other links that we had sent out for the IG page. That's what happened. Oh, okay. All right, thank you so much. So I think we're gonna get here. And it shows already. I apologize. So that's what it is. We're talking about emotional health, and we've been dabbling in and out of that for a little bit now. I'm just talking about what emotions are and how it relates to men. Is the video ready, or are the videos ready rather?
Not yet, ma.
Okay.
I'll let you know when they are.
Okay, thank you. All right. Oh yes, Miracle Ihoma is here as well. Thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate you. I'm going to try and find you in the grid to see. Hopefully you're signed in as yourself. Okay. All right, so one more time, we're talking about men and emotions, and I already stated that every single person has emotions. So it's not a matter of being a man or a woman, we all have emotions, and emotions are simply the way we express ourselves. In anger, you're smiling, whatever it is that is coming from there, your brain is connecting it, and you're acting it out. It's an emotion. It's an emotion. Yeah, so love is an emotion, loss is an emotion, infatuation is an emotion. What else? I'm wondering. Okay, since we now know at least what emotions are, and people that are not going to say that do men really have emotions anymore? Can you please just put something out there? What else, can be considered an emotion? I want to see that, please. What else can you consider an emotion? I've spoken about hunger, anger, love, loss, infatuation. What else? An emotion that we feel. because somebody said, do men have emotions? In a way, that statement is loaded because it means the person is probably talking about a specific issue or thing that's happened. But please go in the chat room and say something. This is let's talk about it. This is not and it says let's talk about it with Flaky, not Flaky talk about it alone. So we're talking, it's a multitude of counselors coming together to share and to learn of and from each other. So this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. Can you just go in there? Can you mention an emotion? I want to make sure that you're here and you're not just, you don't just hanging there. Aha, I see the messages now. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. Irritation. I like that. Irritation is an emotion. Since I had to mention that. Did I see football? Oh, I think I need to put his glasses on because I begin to wonder what I just read. Did I read now? Wow. Okay. So it was right. Excitement as a football. Dr. Ibuku is there. Football fans. What does football fan have to do with emotions? Okay. What does football? I don't understand though. Football fans. I think Daddy Jeff is going to have to on mute to explain that happiness is an emotion, yes. So at least we understand what emotions are. We understand what emotions are. I have to put the glare lens on at times, or the so I can actually read this properly. God have mercy on us all. Okay, so talk about stereotypes. So what's the stereotype? And I explained that as well. So what a stereotype is. And it's typically, and I tried to just put it in a way that would all be able to identify. So it's something that is known, accepted, something that we have heard repeatedly, something that, and it could be about a person or group of people, a tribe, a nation. It could be about a sect, say, oh, these people are always like this. Like how some people say, oh, all black people can dance. That's a stereotype. Not every black person can dance. So we have rhythm, true, but not every black person can dance. You understand what I mean? So that kind of state that when something is projected on everybody in a particular group. And so in this instance, people project, on men, like men are not emotional. Somebody said men don't even have emotions. Maybe somebody else has said that to you too before and all. So that's what we're talking about today, emotional health of men. What do we need to be thinking about concerning men? And the videos are being loaded so that we can play it just one more time. We had 4 young men express their own feelings about stereotypes and emotional health. And people have been sending messages, which is why we're wondering where all the people were, not realizing that the link had not gone out properly. Once again, we apologize about that. And we have everybody, as many people in here now. We hope that more people will join us. Okay, thank you. The other thing I want you to do for me is, where are you joining us from? Where are you joining us from? And whatever part of the world you are, we're so grateful and appreciative that you're with us. And those in Nigeria, I say, this is like party season, party time. So I know that you're doing a lot just to be able to join us too. Thank you. And the month of June, all over the world, that's the month for weddings. So, so thank you for joining us at this time. We're really appreciative. But where are you joining us from? We want to know. Are you in Lagos like I am? Or are you in, where else? Well, someone said peace. Peace. Eye cutting. What is eye cutting? That must be Nigerian, totally. Eye cutting. Eye cutting. What is that? You have to explain that to us. London, Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. Okay. Trying to see. All right, joining us from all these places. Nate, okay, girl. London, wherever you're joining us from, we're very appreciative. We've been Alberta, oh, all the way in Canada. Thank you for being here, sir. So wherever you're joining us from, Abuja, Akuda, Surulere, yay. We like this. We like it. And the reason we ask is so that, we know that that reach is getting there, that we're getting a wider reach each time that we're out here. So we're waiting for the video. The video is not on yet? All right. So while the video is still not on, I want to talk about some things that, I want you to be able to respond to. And the biggest of them, thank God we have two psychologists in the house, but they are home people. They are part of us. They're not on the flyer this time because we're not showcasing them by themselves, but they will be back. One of them has been here. She's an in-house person. She's here again and again and again. And we have a man joining us as well. And I was really grateful that he could join us because we wanted him to speak to that concerning men. He's a man, so he knows what those feelings and those stereotypes are, in a personal way, But every single person has a man in her life. It could be your husband, your father, your son, your brother, your uncle, your co-worker, whatever it is. There's a man in your life one way or the other. And you know about these stereotypes, you know about their emotional health. What should men watch out for? What should we be talking to men about? How should we be grooming the next generation? What are the steps that we have missed? What are the steps that we have missed already, in the past concerning grooming the generations that are already, functional? What other way can we do this? We said the theme for Let's Talk About It this year is a better way. Talking about emotional health. Is there a way to check your emotional health? Do you go to the doctor to check your emotional health? You know how you have a physical every year? Can they check your emotional health? I don't know. They will tell us. They'll be able to tell us about that. But before the specialists come, we have Miracle Ihoma, and we have Bola Odulate Ajayi, Dr. Bola Odulate Ajayi in the house as well. But before we bring the experts on, let's talk ourselves. You and I can unmute. What do you want to talk about today? This is the time to speak. What do you want to talk about concerning the emotional health of men, your counsel to men, or as a man, what you think, what you grew up hearing, what is the stereotype? Have you fitted into that, or are you trying to get out of it, or have you gotten out of it? Or do you think there's nothing wrong with those stereotypes? You think, you know what, that's how it's supposed to be. It's formed our society and it's making society work well. Whatever it is, let's talk about it with Flaky. It's about talking. It's about expressing yourself. So I don't want you to go to the chat, please, and let's know what it is, okay? So just put your digital hand up and then you'll be on mute and you can talk to us. I'm looking forward to this because, like I said, let's talk about it with Flaky. It's not Flaky talk about it. It's not Flaky talk about it. I don't have all the answers. Together, we're going to answer those questions. Together, we'll be, we'll do it in a better way so that generations and generations after remember that, wow, okay, there was a turn at some point. There was a turn. Please don't wait for somebody else to speak. Let's talk about what always happens like that. And people, when it's time to close, everybody's hand starts going up. I'm begging, please, 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 let's start talking right now. Now. Let's start talking. Just put your hand up. Daddy Jeff, please unmute. What are the things that you want to say? It doesn't matter if it sounds controversial, please. What we're here to do is to debunk the stereotypes, is to encourage the truth and teach us a better way to handle emotional health and to discover what we're doing and what we're not doing right. Okay, Benjamin's hand is up. Thank you. And please, when you're mute, introduce yourself. We don't have to go Mr., Mrs., just say your name, and if we can't figure out whether you're male or female, let us know whether you're male or female. That's all. If we can't figure it out from your name. Thank you. Benjamin's hand is up.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Do you want your camera on or do you want it off?
Okay, yes. I don't have a good background. I believe so.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Just speak. Just find it. That's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
good evening. Benjamin from Abuja Suliri. While growing up, I get uh, most men don't know how to act, part of home. So I cook, and I am one of them. I can cook. I could manage a home. I don't depend on a lady to feed. Instead, I can make my own food. Most times, that's why most of my friends be like, you always staying alone. Who cooks for you and stuff like that? I'm like, "Ah, if you can do this on your own, why do you have to bother yourself having a lady or inviting a lady over to do it for you when you know you could do it yourself?" And that has helped me staying as a bachelor on my own. And yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. Benjamin said you can cook. So how did you learn how to
Yeah.
cook? Just for so that
Uh,
some people that think cannot. How did you
okay.
learn?
From my mom of blessed memory, when she was still alive, whenever she leave the cooking for us, the children, to do. And basically, we're mostly guys in my home, and we're four boys and a girl. So growing up from such a place, we just learn how to cook on by, should I say, inheritance, or automatically, because I saw my brothers cooking and I had to grow the passion to cook also. And get to enjoy cooking, and I love cooking
All right.
correctly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for sharing. And it's so good to hear your voice. Thank you for sharing. So
Thank you,
that's a
man.
guy saying they say that men don't cook, but he cooks. I'm sure if I ask all the ladies that are here that are not married, would you like to marry a man that can cook? I'm sure their hearts will all go up. Who doesn't want help? Who doesn't want to sit back and someone cook for them? And then if I ask all the ladies that are married, their husbands can cook. For some of them are lucky. Mine says he can cook, but I don't think he can cook because we have not cooked all this time. He keeps reminding me of boiling rice when I was doing my master's. I just keep
Ah,
I keep saying, okay. But anyway, so that's the one that is debunked right there, that men can cook. As you say, is that men can cook. And so men cook, no big deal. But is it okay for men to cook? Because we're talking about emotional health and men, stereotypes. Some mothers are freaked out when they go into the house of their a couple and their son is in the kitchen and maybe the wife is doing something else. They're like, you have turned into a woman. Why are you in the kitchen? Da, 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 da. I hope that is changing. I hope that that's changing, but I'm not sure. If you think it hasn't changed, please speak to that as well. Anybody else, please? We're talking about men, stereotypes, emotional health. And the reason why we're tying this together is because many times the emotional health of a man, of a person, is actually affected by the stereotypes that control them without knowing. So at times it's voluntary, at times it's not voluntary, it's just there. Say, in our family, stereotype, in our family, we don't, there's so much tears, we don't cry. Bottling everything in, don't understand that, so different things. All right, anybody else? Okay. All right. So you know what? So let's watch the videos. Maybe that will generate more of a conversation. Then we have our specialists in the house again one more time. And definitely we're going to have them back, on their own. But this time we're just breaking the ice. Thank you.
Hi, yeah, my name is Damilare Olalude, and talking about stereotypes that men go through, I think the one that outrightly comes to my own mind is when they say men don't cry. Well, I cry. I'm a very emotional person, and things really make me cry, and things do get to me. Yeah. Also, there's kind of other things when they say men don't pay attention to things. Or, for example, there are some things men cannot do. I'm a man, and for example, I do knitting. I knit crochet. Yeah, that's me. Thank you.
He crochets. I remember a couple of days ago, I shared that with someone who is a crocheting, knitting enthusiast, because I know that she's gone all over the country, teaching people how to knit, how to crochet. And I showed her, I said, see this man. He's a married man. He's got a baby, and he crochets. And he says in full chest, I crochet. She was very excited. I know that one day maybe they'll get to meet, because that was something that really excited her. And how many of us thought about that? Like, that's odd. Why is he crocheting? Is there something wrong with him and all that? No, but his mom taught him. His mom taught him, and she made a living out of it, and he learned. I can't even crochet. I wish I could, but he's done that. Any other videos? Do we have the other videos? And we need your comments on those too, please. Don't have me talking all day.
Hiya, I'm Kunle. Yeah, there's this stereotype about decision making in the family, and we used to say that the man is the head of the family. So apparently, as if all the decision making should be from the man alone. It doesn't work for me actually. It doesn't work for me because in most cases, I used to kind of missed it there. So what I later realized is that it's good, to have a kind of a teamwork in family where everybody have an input. And when I used to do a strong head, I say, okay, this is where we are going, and we are going this way. I used to miss road. Yeah. And it always affects my mental health. Sometimes I speak out, I need help, and I get help, especially from my beautiful wife, and I think it's good, to have a teamwork where everybody have a say, the wife, the children, when it comes to decisions that pertain to the entire family. So to reduce our mental health, is very important. Thank you.
Okay. Men make all the decisions in the house. Because, say men are the heads of the home. And he just said that many times he's missed the path, he's missed road, he's made errors because he just felt, I'm the one doing it, I'm making the decision. But he's learned. Some have learned the hard way. Third video coming up.
Okay, so on stereotypes about men, one general stereotype that I grew up hearing around me was that men, especially men in marriage, as the head of the house, you don't do chores, or you assert yourself as the man in the house by not doing a lot of things. Me getting married has taught me a lot. My wife works 9 to 5, so she has to go to work very early in the morning, come back towards evening. But my work is more flexible, so I work remotely. I work mostly from home. So I've had to learn to help. Probably the reason that was held as a thing for men was because men generally were known as the provider, and so they have to go to the wild, then come home, meet the woman at home. And so, but that I have had to unlearn, because now I do a lot of things. Many times I even have to prepare as much as I can so that when she comes, it's easier for her to do her things. Yeah, so that's one stereotype I've personally have to unlearn.
I'm clapping for him so seriously. He had to unlearn it. And that's what it's all about, to be emotionally balanced. There's some things that we've carried all these years and realize that this is not helping my mental state. So you unlearn those things. And marriage introduced, he's been married for less than a year because I know him personally. And he's learned that that's something he's carried for 30-something years of his life. And now it's out of the window, and he's learned. But I still want a fourth video to come on. Thank you.
My name is Moses Oluwatosin Adedeji. While growing up, there are stereotypes about men that we know concerning career path. For instance, a nursing profession, we believe that men don't take the responsibility of a nurse. Just because while growing up, we don't used to see men in this position in the hospitals. Because of that, I personally have taken it in my subconsciousness that men don't take it. Even it will be very hard for any man to say I want to be a nurse. It's like awkward. The first time I saw a nurse was a student in school of nursing, and I was like, wow. You see now, that's one of those things. Thank you.
Stereotype. Thank you so much. Career choices. And it's so crazy that it's just in the head. It's in the head. Men study this. Women will study that. A man has to be this. And he's so right. When you go into the hospitals and you're growing up, you just think, oh, typically the nurses, they're all female. In fact, if you tell a child to draw, okay, so working in early childhood, children are drawing and scribbling, and tell them, draw the picture of a nurse. I have never seen a child draw a man. Every child will come up with draw. You say, draw a police officer. Guess who they draw? A man. So it's like a stereotype is there. And in this generation, even though it's changing, it is still just there. It is still just, am I making sense to you? Am I hitting something that it's real? That we just have it there and we're just thinking, wow. But to bust that completely about the career path and the nursing one, of course, there are many other career paths that people think it's just for women, but nursing is a big one. But that has changed. It has changed a lot, so much, way so much. People think doctors, even growing up, how many of you remember doctor-nurse romance? If you do, just no, it was the doctor-nurse romance. Somebody's on this chat. If she does not say anything about that, I'll just out her right now, because she was the biggest Mills and Bone reader that I ever knew when we were in secondary school. And I saw her, I saw her on this call. I saw her on this call. So if she doesn't say anything to this about Dr. Nurse romance, I'm going to say, stop hiding. Unless she's off now. I'm trying to see if she's still here. But she was the biggest reader of all those what do you call them, novels back then. I don't see her here anymore, but she was actually here. So this friend of mine, she was always reading that. She's a doctor. She's a doctor. So she has really broken that, because typically in all those books, we always had the woman being the nurse and the guy being the doctor. And it's gone like that. But you see, when I saw that video, I actually told my crew, I told them, I said, guess what? I said, the first male nurse that I knew that was old, I knew him when because he had stopped nursing at that time. He had stopped being a nurse at that time. But the first one that I heard of from their generation, because I know nurses that are my generation, generations after me, but from the generations ahead of me, like my parents' generation, grandparents, the first one I knew, my father-in-law. My father-in-law is a nurse, because you can't say he was a nurse. He's not a practicing nurse. But once you're a nurse, you're a nurse. It's like saying, I'm a doctor. Even if you're not practicing, you're still a doctor because you're qualified. So my father-in-law qualified as a nurse. And he practiced nursing for many years, I hear. I didn't meet him as a nurse before he went back, studied business administration, and ended up in university in administration. But that must have been something else. I can't imagine how many people have been to him like, because he's 86 years old. He's 86 years old. So you can imagine way back then, a male nurse. I think I actually need to interview him and ask him how many of them were there in Nigeria at that time. I don't know about other parts of the world, but talking about stereotypes. So he broke that. He broke that for me. I was really, really fascinated when I met him, and just to hear that he was a nurse before and he did all that. That was really nice. So there are careers, there are, professions that we just think, This is for men. This is for women. Men should stay out of the kitchen. And that amazes me all the time. You know why? The number of chefs that are world acclaimed, that have awards, are actually men. Most of them are men. You only have a fraction of them that are women. So how come somehow, even though we have so many male chefs, and most of the award-winning chefs are men, how come in our minds, in the minds of mothers, grandmothers, and even the ones, after, they are still thinking that being in the kitchen is a girl's thing? Are we hitting something today? Anybody, if you have hands, you can. Growing up, my mother used to say that my mother's an only girl. And so her brothers could cook. And she said her mother always said that nobody was born with spoons and pots attached to their hands. Everybody comes into this world and you learn to pick the pots and pans up and all. And so her brothers could cook, they could pound yam. We're Nigerians and we're from, the pounded yam eating part of that. So they let her to do everything. And that was very, very different because she must have had a lot of people come against that, like, why are your sons doing this in the kitchen? Oh, I guess my grandmother was a forward-looking person. So it doesn't mean that it was all round, because I'm sure in certain areas she would have just, felt different as well. Okay, so I see somebody's hand up. All right, please, can we please unmute Bukola Isiamaka? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ma. Good evening.
Okay,
There is this. Yes, Ma.
What about, do you have video on so we can see you? Or you are not
Okay,
in a place where you can share your video?
Let me try. Good evening, Ma.
And she's joining us all the way from where?
From Japan. Yes, I'm calling from Japan.
From Japan.
Yes,
Time
Ma.
of the days. Big
Thank you so
sacrifice.
much. Yeah,
Thank
you, Ma. Thank you for, let's talk about it. I'm not a man, but there is this general saying about men, which I want the men in the house to clarify. Is it true that men are moved by what they see? Is it true that when a woman is passing, even from their childhood, they want to just turn their head to see, they are so inquisitive. They want to, discover who a woman is, that's why some of them, some, because of that word porn, some, they cannot but just turn their head when they see a beautiful woman passing. Is it true? It's a general saying that men are moved by what they see, that women are moved by what they hear. So I want the men to help us clarify this. Is it true? Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much. I love that question and I'm so happy. That's why let's talk about it. I'm excited. Is it true? Because even me, I've said it when I'm teaching my teenagers and my young adults. I'll be like, men are moving. It is true. That's what we have been told, that we have passed it on consistently. Daddy Jeff, you're going to unmute soon. But right now, we're going to ask somebody else before you. Or the men in the house, is it true that men are moved by what they see? You have to unmute. We don't want to be reading alone. We want to hear your voices. Are all men moved? Oh, hands are going up. I'm excited. I'm excited. Uncle E, you have to unmute, so you cannot be disagreeing. I want to hear your voice. All right, 2 participants have their hands up. Okay. Mr. E, are you able to unmute where you are, so that we can hear what you have to say? Because you said you disagree. And we would love to hear that. Or you can't. It might be somewhere where you can't talk. It's okay. Oh, yes, you can. All right. So please, can you unmute him? Aha. Okay. Please unmute him. Thank you. So we have Iyi in the house. Please go ahead.
All right. I agree and I disagree. I agree because as everyone is, both males and females are attracted to attractive things. Things catch your eye, whether you're a male or a female. I disagree because I'm not only attracted to attractive things. It can catch my eye for a while, but then I study, I listen, I read between the lines, and I ponder on what is being said or what is in front of me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So he says, so he says that he agrees and he disagrees, that everybody I kind of agree with him, like on that point that we're all attracted to attract. We all notice attractive things. So if something beautiful walks by, like a dog, whatever it is, or a handsome man, or a beautiful lady, we all notice, right? Okay. But how come is that they say it's men, it's men, it's men? Why are they not saying women are, like that? But he now says that, yes, it catches his eye, but he doesn't, he now studies and listens and, he diffuses that one way or the other. Thank you so much. Can we please unmute Daddy Jeff? Daddy Jeff, can you show us where you are? Raise your hand, sir. Please, who is
I'm
here?
here.
All right, good.
Okay, first of all, I would like to, let me thank you for bringing me up. And there is something bothering me over the years. I've noticed that.
Wait, I have a question. You're not even answering that. You're giving us another question. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Daddy Chef, go off. All right.
All right. There is something bothering me sincerely because gradually there is a sweep over, there is a cancellation of the difference between a man and a woman. And it is gradually coming into even in terms of emotions. I agree that there are professions that men should do, although it sounds like the nurse of a thing. But I disagree with some in the area of emotions. There should be a difference between a man and a woman. For instance, crying. When I was young, my dad told me that men don't cry. I should stop crying. Right? As a small boy then. And I grew up with it. And it's still with me now. It doesn't mean that it is wrong to cry. What he's trying to say is that if I want to cry, I should do that in my closet. I should not bring it in public. Now, if I have children and they see me cry, what hope am I giving them? So I should be able to show that leadership skills, providing hope for the people watching me, people who are looking up to me. So I cannot dash that hope down by crying. So in as much as we talk about all this emotion thing and the women stereotype and all that, we should be able to make that distinction that a man should be a man, a woman should be a woman. Now there is this color, there is another color something, color stereotyping. Blue is for men, pink is for ladies. That is another funny part of it, but
so what do you think? Do you think it's like
morally speaking, I cannot put on a pink dress looking pinking. Come on. Outside being stereotypic, but it looks common. There is something called feminist color. When something is feminist, it should be feminist. It has nothing to do with breaking that gene feminine or all the rest. I think
you can't wear a pink shirt.
I can't. No, all this flashy pink. I have pink shirt, but not the flashy ones for ladies. There are some.
Hold on. So
type of flash. Nah.
I think there's a pink for men.
There is a pink for men that is. I have it like that pink we wore for Nedu's wedding. That is it. That's the type of pink.
Your friend's wedding, you wore pink, and it was okay.
Yeah, that pink was for men, not the flashy pink for ladies.
So
I think ladies know what I mean.
So from what you're saying, the shades of colors that men should stay away from.
Of course, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Why didn't God create all these colors for us to all of us to enjoy?
Yes, at the same time, there are some things we should leave for ladies.
Why?
As a mark of respect, as a mark for it's a mark for respect for the ladies, a mark of how would I say? It's a passionate mark to give them that their space,
Give us
That's
our,
what I believe.
giving us the colors. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. But you're still going to stay on because I'm going to have you back at some point. You said, I want to question the fact that you think you have to cry in private. Because I'm thinking to myself that even if I'm not asking you to always cry and just be crying on the road every time there's a problem, it doesn't mean that you won't solve the problem. But I actually think, but the psychologists are going to come on and they're going to say what they think, and tell us. Because I'm thinking that your child, because you mentioned family, seeing you cry once in a while or when something happened to them or to the family does not take away the respect and doesn't take away the hope. That's my opinion. I'm thinking it's less that, because you're still going to gather yourself together and you do what you need to do. And my reference is actually from the Bible. Because there's a time that King David, who, for those of us that are Christians, because there are Muslims on the call as well, we know he was a warrior king. King David was a warrior king. He was getting kingdoms, slashing people, taking nations. But something happened. He returned from war and they had taken away the wives and children of all his men, including his family. Of course, he was devastated. His men even turned. They said they were beside hope. They cried and cried, including him. But guess what happened? After crying, letting out the emotions, I miss my wife, I miss my children. Why would this happen to my men? He said he encouraged himself in the Lord and gathered himself together. And guess what he did? He got all of them back. So the way I see it, I don't think a man crying means that he's not going to be able to bring solution. That's how I see it. I think it's okay. I think it's okay if something, obviously, not even whether a mother, a father, uncle, auntie, whoever that adult is in your community is that's growing up, that you're growing up with, you don't want to be the one cry, or you don't want the child to see that person crying all the time, because even that is damaging to that child's emotional health. But that something happens that is devastating and the person can express it by shedding tears. Let me take it higher. Jesus wept. His friend died and he cried. Meaning that emotions, they're there. But even that emotion, like the other part of emotion is that they are transient. They move from one to another. Does not mean that you are focused forever and ever. It means you're a crying man. That's how I see this. Well, I love the fact that you brought it up and you challenged it. And even I, like I said, is a community of learners and non-learners and a community of counselors. So somebody else might be able to say, you know what, Flaky, you're wrong. Flaky, you're wrong. Let's see this. I want to see who else is here so that we can ask. So I can read this. Said it's better that a man, say it's a belief that men are not supposed to cry no matter what's happening in their lives. Say, so somebody said that. Okay, and then I'm reading what, so he has spoken. He said, for me, I disagree. I listen, ponder on what I heard and read between the lines, but I'm attracted to attractive things. So women also. He has said that. Cheche says, I'd like to ask a controversial question. These stereotypes are too easy. Okay, we're going to come to you, Cheche. They're too easy. I don't think they're too easy. I think we're actually getting there more and more. Hassan Zachary says, some women believe that 100% of their needs are to be met by men. Women, what are you thinking about that? I like that. Nobody was thinking about the other part. Zachary, thank you. Thank you for raising that. So why should women think that 100% of their needs should be met by men? Subsequently, this has put many men into depression because they are trying. And that's reality. Hey, ladies, no human being can meet 100% of your needs. What you can't meet yourself, how do you expect a human being to meet all your physical, emotional, mental, financial? One person, he's not God. He's not God. And that's reality. He can't meet all those needs. It's not possible. It's not possible. So the sooner we start telling the ladies around us and the younger generation, no, don't look onto any human being to meet all your needs. It's not possible. But it doesn't mean that the men will not say, "Oh, since it's not possible, we're not going to work hard at it anymore." No, men, you still have to work hard at meeting the needs. And the women will do the same, because there's some needs that need to be met by women in the lives of a man as well, like that. But I'm so happy that you raised that, because most times we're not even thinking about that aspect, that there's so much. And that ties into the mental health of men. Bola and Miracle, you have your work cut out for you, because I'm going to have to keep quiet and start taking notes very soon, but just reading all this out. Okay, it said people who go into careers typically dominated by the opposite gender often find more success. That's true. That is so true. That is so true. So for instance, hairdressers, cooks, fashion designers, and that is so true. I remember there was a time growing up that in Surulere, we all used to truck down, go to Surulere. From wherever you're living, you go to Surulere, because there was this salon. I'm talking about, this is Nigeria now. I live in Nigeria. And at that time, I lived in Nigeria as well. And we used to go to this salon, because this salon had these guys that used to weave hair. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And they were so good. They could style hair, they could do weaves, they could weave the hair as well. So she's right. And so if you go to the opposite side, that's an advantage. I remember telling my uncle that one of my friends was, when we were writing our jam at that time, and he said, one of my friends was going to be an engineer. Actually, just remembered for the first time in all these years. And he said she was misled. As a teenager, I was looking at him like, she would say, yeah, I said, why would she want to be an engineer? That she wants to be going under the bridges. And he just made it seem as if it was some tedious thing that somebody else could do. This, my friend, is a successful engineer. She's doing fantastically well. So well. She's a fellow now. And, she's doing so well. So well in her career. She's done well. She's made her mark. And she's an engineer. And I'm trying to see. Okay, so that's all for all the comments. And thank you so much, everybody, for contributing so beautifully. And I hope we're all getting something, because I've gotten a lot from this. Time is moving on. So I'm going to, before Cheche asks his controversial question, okay, we're going to unmute a couple more people. So please, let's unmute people so they can speak. Thank you, because that's what this is about. It's let's talk about it. And today we're talking about the emotional health of men, and we're tying into the stereotypes that we have in the society. Societal expectations is what brings the stereotypes and the pressure on men. That's what brings the pressure on men. They expect them to do this and that. Please, can you raise your hand if you need to speak, please? Can you raise your hand?
Until we have Mr. J spotlighted, he's ready to speak.
Okay, Mr. J. Okay.
Hi everyone. I can say I'm wearing pink. So
Oh, wait, what happened? He disappeared?
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
I just want to say that even when stereotypes are made, we tend to look at the negative side of the stereotype. It doesn't mean stereotypes apply in all situations. Stereotypes sometimes are for the positivity of the situation. At the point where that saying came that men don't cry, there was a lot of wars going on. There was a lot of hostilities. There was a lot of slave taking. Okay? And our elders came up with those things like men don't cry. It was a routing point for you to develop courage and not be crying. For example, when there was a lot of armed robbery in Lagos, if armed robbers came to your house, and you are supposed to be the head of the family protecting your wife and children, and you are crying, screaming more than your wife, is that encourage them to withstand the situation and be brave? No. So you look at those kind of stereotypes, it really didn't say you do not shed tears at all. Because when your parents die, when you lose someone, you cry. But all it says is, don't overdo it. Cry a little bit, pick up courage because you are supposed to lead. Even when, like the example you gave, David cried, he wept, but he picked up courage, and I think he went after the I think was it the Ammonites that came to do the damage while they were off to war. So, and there are situations too where you don't need to, even though the situation is difficult, maybe you're working for a bad employer in a toxic employment situation, but you just want to keep the family going. Every month you are going to pay the rent, you are going to take care of the family, you are going to do everything. Coming home to cry to your wife, hey, once in a while you can still say it's tough at work. But it doesn't mean you just cry, and you are the first to cry yourself to the emotional mental health situation. No, it's that men don't cry actually give you courage to face difficult times and not become despondent. So I would say we shouldn't look at it as too difficult, as looking at the worst case scenario of those stereotypes. That's why I said I'm wearing pink. I had a pinker for women, but when I put on pink long sleeve and inside my suit, I got a lot of compliments. They didn't make me less of a man. So I would say the guy who made mention of some of these stereotypes are there, and it is good to break the stereotypes.
Yes.
For example, the cooking stereotype. I started cooking at age 7. I had a senior sister. My mother would say, "You are cooking with me today. We'll be helping her." After a while, my mother came, "No, men are not supposed to cook. Get out of my kitchen." Because she was seeing my sister playing some female game. Whenever I was cooking, the soup they kept falling on me. And before you knew it, I became expert. So up to date, I don't believe any woman cook better than me.
Hey.
But look here, you know my wife. You call her, she will tell you. My mother-in-law is here. My mother even not even tell my wife. When they were in Canada, they will say sometimes the mother-in-law, I miss my son-in-law's food.
You know.
But you that know me for look at, will you ever think I step into the kitchen the way I'm outside?
Well, because you're such a balanced man, that's the truth. I wouldn't think it's out of the ordinary, but just seeing you, if I didn't know you, I wouldn't think it. But you're a very balanced man.
Exactly. So some of these stereotypes are for us to manage in our own ways, but manage them in the way that they enhance your life. So when they say men don't cry, it doesn't mean when you are facing a really difficult situation. We are looking at the mental health implication here. And I would tell people, build relationship with friends. Have a bestie. That things are so tough at work. And you're almost at breaking point. You talk with him. If your wife is your bestie, your best friend, also develop the habit of sharing what you're going through. Because when you talk about it, the problem is half solved. Because
that's right.
So I don't want to go on too much. I just want to leave the other people.
Mr. J, so good to see you, and I've missed you. Thank you so much. I love to my sister and Osato. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. So we've heard that, and I learned something new today. That the reason why you actually hear men don't cry was because at that time there were lots of wars. So there's some things that we have picked up and passed on from generation to generation without even knowing the origin. Without knowing the origin. I like that a lot. So Mr. J has spoken. Thank you so much. And he's wearing pink. Daddy Jeff, you can wear pink, or wear dark pink if you want. If you like it, then you can rock it. But if you don't like it, it's okay. But it doesn't mean it's wrong if somebody else wears that color. But I like the fact that he just spoke up and Papa J was up, to be able to balance it up for us. Thank you so much. All right, I have Mr. Byron Ennis' hand up. But before then, and so I have Mr. Byron Ennis' hand up. But before then, we haven't answered that question. Mr. Byron, as you are unmuting, you have your question or your own addition. I need you to please contribute to that because my sister, Bukola Eziamaka, asked the question and we've kept her up. She's all the way in Japan. She needs to go to bed. We've kept her up. She said, is it true that men are moved by what they see? Is it a stereotype or is it reality? And then after Mr. Ene has spoken, we're going to have our male psychologist in the house, Miracle is going to speak, and to all areas. Thank you so much. All right, can we unmute Mr. Byron Ene? Are we getting something from this today, everybody? I really am. If you are, please let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat. Let's know. Mr. Byron Ene is up. His hand is up. Can we find him? Can we unmute him?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To our sister from Japan, it is true. And it doesn't mean all of us do it. But 80 to 90% of men do that. It is true. I totally agree with her. Yes, my brother said he does not do it. Yes, that's just one person out of many. A lot of men do that. What we see moves us. I once told my wife, I said, I showed her a neighbor whose wife was just looking too unkept. It's not my business, but we're just driving out to work that morning, and I saw the woman at about, not even too early, but 10:30, 11-ish, and she was looking so unkept, tying a wrapper on her chest, walking around the street. I told her, I said, if I'm her husband, I would cheat. I'm sorry, it's a Christian program, but I told her the truth. I say, if this woman now come to complain that her husband is cheating, I will ask her, if you're your husband and you see these fine girls on the road and look at you, won't you follow another woman? So it's true. What we see moves us. Yeah. And to men, don't cry. They never beat you. The things that are meeting you are the things that you are stronger than. When things that are stronger than you meet you, you wouldn't even know you're in public when you cry. Men don't cry. When soldiers slap man, make you no cry now, because men don't cry. So all these stereotypes, well, I don't know. About the colors you wear is your choice. No color was made by a man or made by a woman. People just decide the colors. I don't know. About men cooking and women not being able to, well, I'm going to learn to cook. I don't know how to cook, but I know there are some things I can do. I can boil water, I can make eba. I can boil water, I can make eba. I can cook rice. I can boil yam. So I can equally cook to an extent.
Okay.
The stereotypes are not much on me because I grew up in a family where my mom woke up one day and called my dad and said, my dear, sit down. I know how much you're earning. The burden is getting too much. Share the work into two. Take one part and give me one part. My father was like, really? He said, yes. Share it into two. Take one part and give me one part. And they saw that together. We were all in the still room. My father said, okay, I will pay the school fees. Whatever they eat in this house, how they go, that becomes yours. Is that, I'm saying, no problem. Until my father died, till my mom retired, that was our responsibility. Our provisions in the boarding house, The things we wear, the things we eat, my father didn't pay anyone. So how will I get up and think my wife does not have a say, or my wife cannot do this or cannot do that, or I cannot do this or do that? No. I have a wife who is working very hard. Sometimes I check the company account balance, her own is stronger than mine. It doesn't make me less a man. I think sometimes some men, we are scared of that because some of the women, once they see their account balance is stronger than your own, they begin to talk anyhow or misbehave. So sometimes the women contribute to that too. It makes make your man look so inferior because your own digits are higher than his own. So that makes a man begin to find a way to struggle and kill himself working. I will not kill myself. If your digits is higher than my own, no problem. Tell the whole world. No, there are some men who are stronger than you. There are some women who are stronger than you. The stereotypes are just something that we should all. Thank you, Mr. J, for what you said. We don't even know their origin sometimes. We just copy and paste these things and move on with it and begin to drag them around everywhere. And just hearing now about the war thing, it never flashed my mind, but it's just so clear. There are situations where you just hold on and lock up just for a man who is always going to hide from his children to cry. What are we teaching them? That they should not cry. They should just die in silence. And let's be very careful because our children, we are actually the most read book in life. The human you see is the most read book. They pick a lot from us. So something hard is happening to you, something terrible is happening to you. You lock it up and enter the room and close down and start weeping so that your son will not see your crying. Then tomorrow when your son gets into trouble, he stays there until he dies in depression because the father never cried. Well, that's my own point. Me, when crying come, I cry. If you cannot cry as a man, pray that no soldier stops you on the way any day and slap you and beat you up. We'll find out whether you can cry or not. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. J. I really, as Mr. J, Mr. Byron, Mr. B, I really appreciate that. You came right after Mr. J and you cemented that. I like the fact that, you actually mentioned that even you had never heard about the war parts. I hadn't too. Yeah, about that war part, I had not, but I learned something amazing today. That there was a reason, so there's an origin. In addition, you spoke about your father and your mother sharing responsibilities. So no woman should think 100% of your life depends on a man and think that you cannot look onto, or a man thinking he cannot look to his wife for help or decision. It's just a matter of knowing each other, understanding each other, and balancing these things out. I'm going to read a few messages that we have, a few messages, then we will move on. I'm really enjoying myself. I hope you're enjoying yourself as well. Enjoying myself so much. Enjoying myself. It says, I'm going to another one. It says, I can only, okay, correct. This was message to me. Okay, say hello. What about the not so convenient stereotype, the more controversial one? When a guy is too tidy, doesn't walk manly, does makeup, even me, I'm stopping, does makeup. You see, so there's some stereotype in my mind, though. Does makeup. Even as little as pedicure and manicure, that's not makeup now. That's grooming. That's taking care of yourself. Even though I try to keep my nails clean, but I don't think I'll ever intentionally by myself do manicure or pedicure. There's nothing wrong with it, though. So I also ensure that I walk, sit, and speak manly, whatever that means. And why? Well, guys that do are usually seen in a certain way, and I would rather not be seen as mostly. Are there good and bad stereotypes? So that's from Cheche, and there's a whole lot of questions that he's put out there. It's true. He's talking about walking manly, manicure, pedicure. Is there anything wrong with a man grooming himself? Grooming himself, taking care of his nails and all. I'll speak my mind on that too, but I'll let others speak too. Thank you. Socal Cleaning Products. manufacturers. Thank you for saying yes. You're having a great time too, and you're learning something. I'm thankful. So I think we should differentiate. We should differentiate between stereotypes and the natural behavior of a man and woman. Don't worry, the psychologist is coming up. Okay, and Babatunde Rikera says, men certainly cry. We must understand, though, that tears are not the only connotation of crying. Okay, maybe you have to unmute and explain to us, how else do they cry? Because for us, tears is crying. Okay, more recently, and quite unlike past years, I begin to tear up based on feeling emotional about something, and interestingly, not necessarily about something that brings unhappiness or pain. Okay, so we get that. But you still have to explain to us what you mean by it's not the only connotation of crying, just tears. Once the tears have welled up in your eyes, it means you are crying. Okay, thank you for the comments. And E says, modernization and technology changing our environments have changed how men and women behave as well. Yeah, well, isn't there supposed to be at least a way? Because I totally get what Cheche was saying, that there's a certain way that he doesn't want to be perceived. So when a man is effeminate, extremely feminine, he walks in a certain way, people actually think there's something, there's something wrong here. And I think most of us will automatically just be like, why he's different. So there is a way that men are perceived to carry themselves or to walk. That's what he's trying to say. Please, you have something you can say, speak to that as well. Okay, Caroline Noble says, if a stereotype such as the one claiming men are moved by what they see can also apply to women, then labeling it as uniquely male, as a male trait, is misleading. And I agree. But maybe we need to find out what the origin of it is too. Maybe men are, because I have taught that men are more visual, women are more moved by the things that they hear, and I've seen it play out consistently. Psychologists, I hope you are hearing all we're saying, because you're going to give it to us. As a woman, I'm visually stimulated too. Exactly. I see an attractive man and I look. So this suggests that the stereotype isn't rooted in biological facts, but in social conditioning. Thank you. Kendi Adedayo says, men have emotions too. Oh, that's mommy. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. Is that they must be free to express their emotions. I agree. Strong men also get tired. It's not a sin to express it. Brave men also feel pain. Keeping quiet about their pains is one of the reasons why many suffer more serious chronic conditions and sudden death. Totally agree, man. Totally agree. Bottling everything in is wrong. I've said this repeatedly to people, and they think it's a joke. I say, if you're very emotional about something or your heart gets broken about something, I said, if it's deep enough, you practically just feel your heart wrenching. Grief does that. You will feel it, or a betrayal. Somebody can say, whatever it is. So it's true. And then imagine if they don't express it, they don't talk to somebody about that. So it affects the body. It affects the mind. And of course, eventually you begin to see the manifestation of illnesses. The best thing a man can do for himself and family is to speak up in pain, to speak up in their pains, so help can be rendered. Thank you. Men, speak up. Speak up. Don't bottle it in. It doesn't make you less a man. It doesn't make you less a man. I think for me, I have more friendship with men that are able to express themselves. Papa J that just spoke is, I call him my small daddy. We talk and I could tell him I miss him because, back then in the gym, we talk about things. There's some things that I would need a balanced view of a man's view, and I want to hear it from him, and he will tell me the truth. And I'll be able to hear that. And I have guys like that in my life that, but they're not many. That's the truth. As I said, I miss him and I like that. Mr. B already spoke as well. Mr. B is someone that I talk with as well. And he will speak the truth as it is. He's not going to color code it. He will just say it. So men, please don't keep it to yourself. Find someone, find a friend that will tell you the truth. Look, your wife is there. You're married. Just start from there, right there. okay, to speak of their pain so that the help can be rendered. Real men talk, heal, and grow. Let's break the silence around men's emotional health. Thank you so much, ma. Encourage your brother, your husband, your father, your son to speak up. Pray with them. Hallelujah. I like that. Pray with them. Listen without judging. Support their emotional health. Talking is not a weakness, it's wisdom. Thank you so much, ma. You've spoken my heart again and again. Hassan Zachary, thank you for always being here. Your passion for thank you. Your passion for teaching really inspires me. I appreciate how you make complex topics so understandable. Thank you, Ma, for your educative program, your guidance. I've grown so much in my understanding. Thank you for being here. I'm really grateful that you're always there. And he joins, whether I'm doing it in the church or where he joins. And my brother is a Muslim. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. So to me, stereotypes are a form of mental engineering. Ushe? Even so-called positive stereotypes are harmful because they box people in. Very true. Psychologists in the house, both of you, I hope you're hearing all this. I'm just reading and I'm analyzing to the best of my abilities, but you are the ones that are the professionals. Evaluating, elevating some while limiting others. That's why I don't subscribe to them. Okay? Say, absolutely, ma, talking is not weakness, it's wisdom. Strong men are not those who suppress emotions, but those who face them and seek healing. Yes, talking is not a weakness, and it's true. I say that to my sons. I make my sons talk. Even when they don't want to talk, I push them. I push my teenagers, my young adults. They know me. You have to talk. When you talk, you let it out. And I say to them, this is cheap therapy. Consider me cheap therapy. Because if you have to go and pay Dr. Bola Ajayi, you pay plenty. But if you have to talk to me, it's okay. So right now we're going to be unmuted. Our dear psychologist in the house, he's here with us today, and I'm excited. He's going to be coming back by himself. You know, not just all of us talking. He'll come, give us the lowdown on a particular topic. That topic is the secret. Please, can we unmute Miracle Ihoma? I'm so thankful for the connection that came from my friend and my sister, Dr. Bola Odulate Ajayi, and she brought you into us. Thank you so much. Please, can we unmute him? So that he can start giving us everything. We have just a few minutes left. That's why we're bringing on the psychologists to come and give it to us now. Are we still here? Hello?
Yes, I'm
All right.
waiting for him to unmute him.
Okay, have you found him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Please unmute yourself, sir. And you have, I'm not asking you questions, just go. You've had all the questions, you had my own responses, you had other people's responses, you know, move with it. We're here. Thank you, ma. Are we having a hard time unmuting him?
So he needs to unmute himself. We've given him the
Hello,
ability.
sir.
Yeah.
Can you unmute yourself, sir? Okay, maybe we'll have Bola speak to us first, and then he'll join. Maybe when he's able to unmute himself.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Yes, that's because I'm driving. I'm close to the house already. If you give me 5 minutes, you would have my. Yes. If you give me 5 minutes, you have my full attention.
Thank you so much. So we'll give you 5 minutes, and then we'll have Dr. Bola Odulate Ajayi on. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, Dr. Bola, we're going to take you last. We're to give the man. This is the emotional health and men first. But now we're going to hear from the woman's point of view, but a professional woman's point of view. Everything that we have said, we want to hear. You know, including the person that said crying is not the only way of crying. Tears, you have to speak to that. Thank you. Please unmute yourself, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. And so sorry because I was really hopeful that Miracle would take this. So I was just going to sit at the back and just enjoy myself like I've been doing for the past few for a while, but now I'm on the spot, so I'll go ahead and talk. So everybody has really spoken, and thank you so much, Pastor Flaky, for bringing this on. It's very important. And like we've said, so you said I should answer some of those. When people say men don't cry, I'll start with my brother that said men cry, but it doesn't have to be tears. And that's true. You know, not everybody, and even some women cry without tears, and people see you and think you're okay and everything is fine, but you're really broken and you're crying. So the statement is very correct that you don't have to have tears to cry. So, but back to the cliche or to the not cliche to
Sorry, before you continue, I want to take you up on that because
yes.
I really believe that having the tears, that release does something to your body.
Absolutely, you're right, but everybody is different.
Okay.
So for some people, it could just be screaming into the pillow in a way that really shows that emotions and I mean the emotion, and they're really upset and really screaming out, and that will give them the relief. So everybody gets theirs differently, but we're used to saying that crying is when tears come out of your eye, but that's not it. Because yes, it's very, very relief. Because you see some people when they're grieving and you're saying, okay, how come this person is not crying? Are they going to break down? Are they going to, but they might not cry. Some people tell you, I wasn't able to cry. I wasn't, tears couldn't just come. I was just broken. But, are they any happier than someone that was crying, or is the sadness less than the person that brought out the tears? No. So it's there. So everybody has it in a different way, but we're just used to the norm of, okay, someone, tears comes out and then that means someone is crying. But that is, it's majority do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So you can go on with the rest of the questions and comments and teachings. Uh-oh. Carol, can you hear her?
Okay, I was muted and I needed to get they needed to unmute me. So yes, and then back to that, culturally, particularly this end of the world in Nigeria, where men, go through a lot of stress. There's the cultural and religious expectations that come with a man. You have to be a man, you're the head of the house, you are the tail, you are the this, you are the that. So living up to that alone just brings, this ego that they have to live up to a certain expectation. And if there's any country or anywhere in the world, I mean, just generally, men are stressed. More stress. I won't say more stress because we can't quantify it, but there are lots of factors that will make a man stressed. The economical factor. Some people will tell you when you talk to youth and talk to young adults, they will tell you, oh, women, it's easy. They don't have to do much. They can actually get a zaddy that will sponsor their lifestyle, or get something or do something, or it's easier for a woman to get into the workforce, and all of these factors than the young men. So they'll say, so financially it's stressful. So that's already stress going on with them. Culturally, like I've said, and religiously, that's stress that they face, and other economical factor. So it's really tough. And then if they've been told don't cry, you're a sissy, why are you crying like a sissy? And you see people, why are you crying like a woman? So already it's this thing in their head that, okay, why are you crying like a woman? Be a man, toughen it up. You have to act like a man. You can't be doing that. So when they carry this into adulthood, you can see it manifesting in different areas. Like I said, this is just to respond. I'm just buying time for Miracle to come here. But while doing that,
we're getting the responses. Go ahead.
Thank you. So while doing that, you could see that some men will tell you, you can see different sorts of behaviors. Maybe some of them will be very aggressive or short to anger, any little thing, they will scream. So it manifests in other ways because there isn't an outlet for them to bring it out. So sometimes when you see someone that comes into therapy and they're just angry, and wife will say he's always angry, or he's always tired, he's withdrawn, he's irritable, and all of those things, it could be part of depression. And it might be some of these things that they've bottled up and they've not been able to express because the society doesn't expect them to express it in that way by crying. And then it comes up in other kind of emotions. It comes down in their actions and other things, even anxiety. Men don't, I've been taught not to label emotions. Like you have said at the beginning, Foluke, you talked about emotions where you said people will laugh and that's also an emotion, but men have been taught to be men, quote and unquote, whatever that means. So they don't express those things. So you see someone going through anxiety, they're probably hypervigilant and restless, and they have control issues and things like that. So if you're not able to express your emotions in certain ways, it will come out any which way because you're human. It will come out in the actions. And those are some of the things that we can see in the aggression. And some people will end up, if you look at statistics, before I say how some people end up, it tells us that yes, more women might attempt suicide, but more men are successful in, I won't say commit suicide because it's not a crime. So I'll say are successful in, what's the word? Anyway, achieving the suicidal goal.
Just say executing suicide.
In achieving it, because they go for it when they're done. They really do go. Most of the time, maybe when women do it, they do it in a way where they're using, meds and things like that. So they can really come to the rescue. And then because women talk, we're touchy, because we've been raised that way, they'll say, oh, you touch a man or a boy in a way, oh, you don't touch me like that. But when you touch a girl that way, they don't react that way. So those things, we need to unlearn it. And my brother had said that in his video that we saw, to unlearn those things, to learn to, they're human too. Men have blood and water, just like women in their bone, flowing in their body. So they're human. So you see why some people abuse alcohol and, they will use it as coping mechanism, their coping mechanism, like alcohol, drugs, and things like that, because they're not able to express or talk to someone. And my brother, I think, Brother Jay or someone had said, or maybe Brother Ene said, talk to someone. So, but then when we get to solution, but I'm sure that Miracle will provide some of those, but if not, I'll still go ahead and talk about it if he doesn't join us soon. So it leads to those things, to burnout. They get burnt out easily because they're not talking about it. It can lead, and that burnout will show in emotional numbness. They'll be numb. You're not showing, or they're detached, or they become cynical and things like that. So those are the ways that it shows. And if you look at it, and sometimes it will go into the hopelessness, isolation, and self-harm, like we say, which is very risky and can be suicidal. So being able to let it out. When a woman speaks, sometimes I laugh at someone on this group that knows herself, that when we just want to talk for like 10 minutes become 1 hour 20, or maybe until the phone dies or something, because we're just saying everything and really talking. And by the time we are done, you feel that sense of relief because you've been able to say it. And I'll joke, I'll say, oh, you know what, I can be naked in front of you and not be ashamed. When I say that, it doesn't mean physically naked, I mean emotionally naked. I can talk, I can say this to this person, and I know that I'm safe. That's my safe space. So you need to find, men also should have that, everybody, women, men should have your safe space.
So two questions okay. For you.
Okay.
2 questions as a woman. So we're looking at these questions as a woman and as a psychologist. Like, okay, so balance it out. I don't know how, but you're going to do it. So you're asking men to have a safe space. What if the safe space is a woman of somebody of the opposite sex? Is that good?
If it's your wife, that's excellent.
Oh, and the person is saying it's not your wife. That's why she's asking this question.
Yeah, so you see, again, that question is loaded. It's loaded, and it goes back to the question that my sister in Japan asked earlier. And you see, when you talk about emotional things, our emotions, there's a sense of vulnerability that comes with that. So if you're vulnerable with a female that is not your spouse, it's doable, but is it advisable based on what we've seen or what I've seen personally, professionally, and how it really, honestly, it's a tough thing to answer, and you have a discerning spirit and discretion to do that, because I've seen there's
know when I'm being naked in front of you and not ashamed. when it's emotional.
Exactly, emotional, because at that point it really happens more. And then, okay, so it happens more with women, well, everybody, because obviously the woman is talking to another man. So I wanted to say that I've seen it more with married women, where they feel vulnerable, to a man that is not their spouse. And then maybe this person has an attraction for you. And it can also be the same with a man talking to a woman. You just don't know. And one thing leads. So because emotional vulnerability, honestly, is almost harder than physical nakedness. Let me just put it that way, since I use that word. So it's almost harder because you now see this person, you know them in and out. They know what you want. They know what you're lacking in your marriage. They know what you're lacking in your relationship. One thing you could just see, I've seen relationship, where two people actually were so angry with themselves. How did we get there? They didn't mean to get there, but they got there. So it's always safer, if you ask, to have, a safe space with someone of your own gender, or some people you respect. I don't know. It's a tough one to answer, because some of us tend to be closer to.
So should I say, you're not saying you cannot have friends of the opposite sex, but you have to be able to guard yourself.
It's very important.
And know what you're saying to them.
Yes, it's very important.
How much you're sharing.
Yes.
Okay.
Because some of us, I would say personally, most of the time, apart from my very close niche friends that are female, that, like I said, like the people that I talked about earlier, that I can just be vulnerable. I easily make more friends with men than women, but you have to have boundaries. You have to have that, when do you cross that? And when you're vulnerable, when you're opening up to them in a certain way, then it becomes very risky. So based on this, before she will ask me a question again that I'll get in trouble for, Miracle is here. So I'm going to be quiet and we'll take questions later if there are any.
Are you watching out for Miracle's show? Well, thank you so much. Let's put our hands for Dr. Bola Odunlade Ajayi. Thank you so much. Thank you. Here from a woman's point of view, who's a psychologist, is fantastic. And like I said, I've put my voice out there and taking what people are saying and putting mine there too. But hearing from these people, professionals too, is amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Now we're going to be hearing from Miracle Ihoma, who's a psychologist, and that's a man. And he has all this. So one of the things I want you to end with today is, how can men develop positive emotional health? How can their mental health be better helped? Our theme for the entire year is a better way. So how can men be better, mentally, emotionally? So that's one thing I want you to end with. But please, the court is yours. Kick the ball however you want to. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, so thank you very much. And it's evening where I am, so good evening, everybody. I've been a part of the conversation, and I was hoping that I wasn't going to be called until I got home. But unfortunately, I was. So I'm sorry for joining in a bit late, right? Yes, and really, I've really learned a lot listening to everyone. I've really seen heard a few perspectives that I may not have considered before today, which is very enlightening and very good. And a lot has been said, and there's a quote I like so much, and the quote says, the literary of the 21st century is not the person who cannot read or write, but the person who has refused to learn, unlearn, and relearn. To say that the illiterate of the 17th century would be the person who could not read or write. Well, the illiterate of the 21st century is not that person anymore. It's that person who has refused to learn new things, unlearn things that they may have known, but are no longer effective or no longer serves their best interest. And that person who has refused to relearn what they have known, but may have become dormant in their lives. So it is from that perspective that I'll be sharing a few things with us today. And I wanted to ask a few questions. Yeah, and And I'm happy this is for men, because I was at an event earlier today, and the event was for women. You know, women get to talk a lot, right? Women get to enjoy a lot of privileges, and it's one of the stereotypes, right? Is it stereotype, or I think it's even true, because we have like 34 Women's Day. There's International Day of the Girl Child, International Women's Day like 4. There is International there's Mother's Day like 5. A lot of those things, but then you have maybe one Father's Day all through the year. And even the Father's Day, the women will ask men to take them out. So men are actually going through a lot. And, you know, you see a lot of conferences for men, for women rather. You see a lot of seminars for the girl child. But you hardly see anything for the boy child, for the men. So the question is, how are men being prepared for the future? How are men being prepared for emotional and relational life? Yeah, because if you look at, and a lot of what is a stereotype today comes from how we have been acculturized and how we have been socialized. Yes, for example, men are usually judged by financial success, while women are generally judged by family success. So if a family, for example, or a marriage is not working, most times people would point to the woman. And you will hear a famous quote that says, it is the wife that builds the home. And I wonder, how well can a wife build a home if the husband is committed to tearing it?
Exactly. Yeah, that always. I'm so happy you're saying that, because I always come against it and say, I'm sorry, it takes 2 people. Because if one person is building, another is taking it out, even physically looking at it, you know, I put something here and you take it away, I put it back, you take it's you're not moving anywhere. Thank you for, and I'm glad it's coming from a man. Thank you so much. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. But that's the reality of where we find ourselves today, right? And you know, if a woman is married at 30 or 35, people would usually look towards her character, like she must have a character deficiency, and that's why she's not married at 35. If a man is not married at 35, nobody is judging him by his character. Nobody's saying he's not married because of his character. They will most likely judge him. They will most likely judge him by his financial capacity, to say that he's not married because maybe he doesn't have money to get married. Right? So a lot of the times women success, but men are judged. That is why a lot of men are under financial pressure to do, to provide, to give, and things like that. And those are part of the conversations we need to have, really, to say, really and truly, are men supposed? I know this is it's another stereotype that a lot of people have, where they say men are providers. Where did we get that from? I'm not saying men shouldn't provide, but we need to question things, because questions, like I like to say, are the answers. The quality of questions you ask will determine the quality of answers you get. Just like somebody rightly said in the call, that have you really thought about the origin of certain things, the etymology, how things came about? For example, the issue of men being providers came from the Stone Age, came during the Industrial Revolution, where it was men who actually went out to work, because even the kind of jobs were limited. So you had to either farm or fish or hunt. And those are the kind of jobs that supposedly women couldn't do at the time. So women stayed at home to take care of the children and give birth to those children, and of course, take care of those children and take care of the home front. But as life progressed, things have evolved, things are changing, and we continue to change. Do we continue to live with that same mentality that enabled the survival of the people that lived in the 5th century in the 21st century? Because right now, I was still having a conversation with a man, earlier this evening, And he was complaining about how that he's stressed because 99.9 of everything in the home is the one that provides. And the question I asked is, what does your wife do? And he says the wife doesn't do anything. I'm saying, why doesn't she do anything? You know, except of course you have the financial wherewithal to take care of the home, and she doesn't have to do anything. But the reality that confronts us today, especially with the economic situations and what have you, it will take two to provide for a home to be formidable. Actually, it can no longer be men providing anymore. It must be parents providing for the home. Yeah, because the woman has a brain just like the man has. And physiologically and psychologically, the brain of a woman and that of a man are the same. There's nothing different about the brain of a man and a woman. They are both gray in color. They have these same components. There is the forebrain, the midbrain, the hindbrain, both in men and women. So why would you think that, you know, as a woman, you can't produce economic value just because of your gender? It doesn't make sense to me, right? And that's questions that we need to, those are questions that we need to ask ourselves, right? And those are realities that have actually changed over time. And it is one conversation that we need to have, right? Then I wanted to ask us a few questions, men here. Like I said, I'm happy men we're having this conversation. And just irrespective, if you do the many girls conference that we do without having the equivalent of boy conferences and seminars, boys will spoil everything the girls have learned. That's the truth. So we need to pay attention to the boy child as well. We need to also seek funding for the boy child as well. We need to invest in training the boy child as well. And these are the few questions I want to ask this evening. Number one is, how many men have a group of friends who they are vulnerable with? Yeah. This is a question that men need to answer. Because I can tell you for free that a lot of men are not vulnerable. A lot of men are not vulnerable. In fact, research has proven that many times men speak for solution and not for support. Men speak for solution and not for support, while women can speak for support. So what do I mean by that? A woman can talk just for the sake of talking many times. She can just have friends that she gists with. She discusses her challenges with. She's not looking for solution necessarily. In fact, many times it's in the conversations and it's in the pouring out of her heart that she even gets insight into solution to her problems. But many times a man will not talk for support. He will only talk to you because he feels like you have a solution to his problem. And if you don't have a solution to his problem, he would wonder why he needs to talk to you. If I talk to you, how would you help me? If I tell you that I need 10 million now, can you give it to me? So he wants to talk for solution. But men need to also talk for support, because beyond solution, talking is very critical, which is a major part of what we are talking about in terms of emotional health. Because emotions are not meant to be stored. Emotions are meant to be expressed. Emotions are not meant to be stored. Emotions are meant to be expressed. Any emotion that is stored would implode over time. Yes. That is part of the reason why men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women. 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women. Because when a woman, and surprisingly, more women suffer from depression than men. More women even attempt suicide than men. Or more men die by suicide than women. Part of the reason is because if a woman is going through a depressing situation, she will talk. She will not be quiet. She will say, I need help, bro. She is not ashamed of talking. But a man has been acculturized. He has been socialized to think that vulnerability is weakness. But I tell every man here, vulnerability is not a weakness. Vulnerability is strength. because it actually takes courage to be vulnerable. Yeah, only the courageous can be vulnerable. So, when was the last time you were vulnerable? And women that are here, I also need to speak to you because, like I said, men have been acculturated to think this way. We need to, ladies, encourage our men to be vulnerable. A lot of the times women say to me, my man is not vulnerable. I want him to open up more. I want him to be more vulnerable. I want him to be more open. The question I always ask is, can you handle his vulnerability? Most times, women cannot handle the vulnerability of men, even though they want them to be vulnerable. And that's why men see through that. And in spite of you wanting vulnerability, they say, no, I'm not going to be vulnerable. Because let me give an example. So if your husband comes to you right now and says, honey, there's a girl I'm liking in my office, how would you take it?
Mm.
You know, cause World War IV in your home.
World War III.
World War III.
Right? No, I'm giving you the word that that's what it is, you know, because you're like, I'm sharing this. But can I ask you a question as well? Would a man take it and not cause World War III if his wife came and said, there's this guy in my office that I'm crushing on? I think the man will even be more impacted than the woman, to be fair.
Yeah. So shared vulnerability. So the question really is, we say we want our partners to be vulnerable, but many times we're not ready for them to be vulnerable. And that's why many times our partners pretend. For example, even people before they get married, they will say things like, my biggest deal breaker is cheating. I cannot marry a man that will cheat or a woman that cheats. Once he cheats, it's over. Once she cheats, it's over. I don't have a problem with that, with having a deal breaker, right, of cheating. But the question is, many times when you have that deal breaker, would you be willing to work with your partner to make sure they don't break that deal? Because many times when people have those deal breakers, they work against their partners and push them towards actually breaking the deal without knowing. Many times it's not intentional. They don't want to do it, but their attitude does it. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. So let me paint the scenario. So you don't want your man to cheat, yet you don't create an environment that is enabling for him to be vulnerable, for him to be open and have honest conversations with you about how he's feeling and what the things that are going on in his life. When that kind of environment is not created, then you are creating an environment that will enable him to cheat. When you are nosy, suspicious, you are not trusting, all of that would push him to cheat. So the way to make him not to cheat is actually the other way. To make sure that you create an environment where he's vulnerable, where he's open with you, when he can tell you that there's a lady I'm liking in my office, there's a guy I'm liking in my office, and you will be able to work with him to deal with that situation without losing your trust for him. Because I usually like to say that if you want to reap trustworthiness, you must sow trust. You must sow trust to reap trustworthiness. You must show trust in your partner. You want to reap trustworthiness. You must hear that, be comfortable in hearing that, and tell them, okay, so what do we do? What boundaries do we create? And then keep them accountable. So how has it been? How are you feeling right now? How far have you been able to, did she talk to you? And be comfortable with having those kind of things. Not, you will push men to doing the things, and women alike, right? To doing the things you say you don't want them to do. So, are you really vulnerable? That's one of the questions I have for men here. Another question I have for men is,
okay, are you vulnerable? How many more questions? We have to round up soon because the people came in late and so they took away from our time. But we don't want to overextend, and then we can have a part 2.
Yes. So give me a time you want me to round off because I can talk for the next 1 hour. So just tell me what time, how many more minutes?
5 more minutes ago. We're supposed to finish at 8 Nigerian time. But because people came in late, that's why we're even waiting until 8:05 now. So please, 5 more minutes and we have to round up. Thank you. Please bear with us, everybody. Right. People came in late today. Some went out late. And so people could not join on time. So please bear with us. It's 6 to 8 WAT. Typically, that's what we do. So please just give us this 5 minutes today. Few minutes.
All right.
Thank you.
Let me round this up in 5 minutes, right? So like I said, we're talking about emotional health right here. And yes, I'll just say a few things as we round up. I've talked about vulnerability. Men, we need to become more open to seeking help, because that's another challenge I see a lot of men have. A lot of men are usually not open to seeking help. Yes. In my personal practice, for example, even working with Dr. Bola, you will see more women who are willing to seek help than you see men. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because men have been indoctrinated to want to solve their problems themselves. So they feel like if I'm going through something, I can deal with it. That's why they bottle up. That's why they keep their emotions to themselves. And that's why a lot of men implode. So men, you must become more vulnerable with seeking help. I usually ask men, when you have a problem with your car, where do you take it? A mechanic, right? Yes. You don't try to fix it yourself. When you have a problem with your physiological health, where do you go to? The hospital. The GP. Medical. When you want to sew a cloth, you want to make a dress or whatever it is, who do you go to? You go to a fashion designer. When you have a legal problem, who do you talk to? You talk to a lawyer. So why then do you think that when you have a mental health or emotional health related issue, you can't seek help? You can't talk to a professional, someone or people who have been trained to help you deal with those kind of issues. You should seek help. Once again, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's actually a strength. And we must train the next generation to seek help. Train the next generation to be in touch with their emotions. Like it has been said on this call throughout, men, it's okay to cry. There's nothing wrong with crying. Crying is one way to express your emotion. There are many other ways. Crying is one way to do it. It's okay to cry. It's okay for your boys to cry. Let your boys cry. Don't say, why you cry like a woman? Don't do that. Thank you. Don't do that. When men, in fact, there's a way a man will talk. They will say you are talking like a woman. If a man talks too much, if a man talks, they will say, why are you talking like a woman? Because indoctrinated to think that only men should talk. You are only a man if you can keep quiet, maintain your steez, and composure. But that doesn't make it wrong. Right? So seek help, train the next generation, let the boys do better. I liked it when somebody here said that he can cook. Cooking is not a job of a woman. Cooking is a job of a human. Cooking is not a woman's skill. It's a human skill. It's a life skill. So let's train our boys to cook. Let's train our, it shouldn't be, okay, we're training boys to cook, to let our boys go play football while the girls are in the kitchen. Let boys be able to do these things for themselves and by themselves. Get in touch with their emotion. Know that. And that's why a lot of boys grow up and then feel or think that they are superior to women. Even women that are not their wives. They expect every woman to submit to them. In fact, I will even quote the Bible that in the book of Genesis chapter 1, God created man. It was man. No, God did not create man in his own image. He created humanity. The word man there is humanity. The word man there is mankind, expressed in two genders, male and female. Women might be weaker vessels, but they are not weaker content. And that's where I wrap it up today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Miracle. We're going to definitely have you back. Please appreciate him for me and appreciate Bola as well. Thank you. She spoke first and then he here. And just hearing from their perspective as psychiatrists and male and female is just amazing. Like I said, we started on time, but people didn't come in on time because of mix up with the link, I think. I didn't get on time. So, sorry we're running late today. We don't do that typically. But it has been an amazing time just talking about emotional health for men, about men, talking about the stereotypes, debunking certain things, putting everybody together so that we're hearing different voices. I'm excited that this has happened today. So I know that the second half of this year is going to be different for so many men. Rounding up, this is me speaking to you now. I'm saying, please, men, speak up. Don't bottle up. Don't bottle up. Something is wrong, speak up. You've heard the psychiatrist say, you've heard other people say it. It's just what it is. When you speak, it lightens the burden. But speak to the right persons. If you're married, start with your spouse. Ihioma said something. He said, if your spouse said, oh, I'm attracted to that person or something, how would you deal with it? So that brings me to the place of trust. You build trust. If you build trust in the home, you'll be able to share so many things. But if there's no trust, if the person begins to wonder that, is it because he's going to go do that? Or the other way, is she going to go do something with that person? Then there'll be an issue. So build trust. So speak up, build trust. Vulnerability is important. To be successful in relationships, there has to be a level of vulnerability. And I know that men want to succeed. I'm big on this next generation of men. My young men that I talk to and all, they know me. I want maybe different ways. I just want them to be different. I want them to be different. I want them to think different. I want them to act different. It's okay to seek help. And seeking help does not even start with the highest level of physical help, as in going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. No. You can start with just your friends. You have friends. Ask, find, you will know who it is you can talk to. That person that will be able to help you. So my brother has said what? He said, men seek for solution and not support. Please seek support and solution. Seek support and solution. At times, support is all that you need. Is all you need. You need that support that will now lead to a solution. You might not find solutions straight away. Just thankful to every single person that has spoken today and those that have connected. Some had to leave for different reasons and they're sending messages to me to say, I'm sorry, I have to go now because of one reason or the other. I really appreciate you. Thank you all for being here today. The Let's Talk About It crew, you're amazing as always, and I'm thankful to God for every single person. The last thing I want to say to every single person here is, you see, your emotional health is actually linked to your success in life. People don't realize that, but physically, if your emotional health is jeopardized, it affects your physical health, and it affects what you can do or what you can't do. So your spiritual health, your financial health, your physical health, let your emotional health be in balance as well. That's what makes you a whole person. It's your whole person. Please get more comments from our chats, even as we round up. And if you have not subscribed to Talk with Flaky, I appreciate this. Please do it. And share with other people so that next month and other months and the future, you have more content to be able to gain from. And we'll be able to gain from you. Remembering that Let's Talk About It is about a multitude of counselors. I really appreciate every single one of you. I'm totally encouraged by your presence here today. And I know that we're going to find a better way to handle emotional health for men. Thank you so much. So it's bye. See you next month from Let's Talk About It with Flaky and the crew. God bless you all. Mwah.